Once there lived a young girl and a young boy who were neighbours and best friends. They grew up playing together in the nearby woods. It was there where they both found their sense of adventure and their love for the woods, for its mystery and its magic. You could say it was the woods that brought them together and helped to raise them. Not that they would ever say it. They were always too busy on their adventure to concern themselves with things like that. Why think about how you lived yesterday when you're alive right now? They both shared this ethos, though not consciously. But despite their similarities, they still had their differences. The girl was brave and strong. The boy was less so. He was soft-hearted and sensitive, but he had a kind of sixth sense when things were about to turn bad. However, he never saw it that way. He always saw it as him being too scared, regardless of whether he was right or not. The boy always looked up to the girl because of this. He admired her for her fearlessness. But, like the boy, the girl never saw herself as such, so she felt as if she had to be that for him. Although it wasn't just for him. She felt some pride in his opinion of her and wanted to become the fearless girl. So she began trying to prove herself. The pair were out exploring the woods, walking the same paths they'd followed for years. Past the owl's perch, the munkjack's thicket, and through where the buzzard would glide, swiftly weaving between the branches like water in a stream. The pheasants never cared where the others live. They'll wander anywhere and make themselves at home, gobbling away. One once even appeared at the boy's bedroom window. The boy's favourite section of the woods is the mossy meadow, where the spongy ground glows a vibrant green beneath the sheltering canopy, and lichen climbs the trees, dressing them in gowns of emeralds. He feels most at peace here, and the vibrancy cures his eyes of fatigue. The girl's favourite is the shingle slope. She enjoys straying from the path and surfing down the hill with stones beneath her feet. This is where the girl first tested the boy's courage. He thought sliding down was reckless, but hand in hand, the girl showed him how fun it was. Sure, they fell over a couple of times, but it was well worth the risk. And they still play here. They weren't looking for adventure today, just to spend time with each other and enjoy the woods. But it turns out, adventure was looking for them. As they continued rambling down the thin dirt trail, no more than 2 feet wide, their shoulders brushing against the twig-like branches, the boy spotted a large grey rock between the trees. You or I might not have noticed it, let alone thought there was anything special about it. But these two grew up in the woods. They know the paths like the creases in their palms, and they knew it was never there before. Their curiosity got the better of them. They had to investigate. They are explorers after all. The pair tunneled their way through the net of branches towards the rock, until they reached the larger trees where the copse was less dense. And beneath a towering beech they realized that this was no rock, but a tomb. They swept off the leaves and peeled off the ivy in search of text of some kind. They needed information. Who's buried here? When did they pass? Why here? Is this really a tomb? Nothing. All they knew, thanks to its rectangular shape and chiseled geometric detailing, is that this was not natural. This was carved intentionally. The boy continued examining the tomb. Or so that's what he said. He was actually following a beetle as it wrestled its way through the blades of grass, thinking, what an amazing world the little bugs live in. Grass 10 feet tall, trees stretching up towards the stratosphere, and giants. But it was in fact the same world. Perspective is a marvelous thing. The boy was capable of seeing more magic in the tiny, everyday things than, say, I don't know, an eerie ancient tomb that mysteriously appeared from seemingly nowhere. The girl, who had not yet lost interest in the tomb, scoured the area for clues, when shortly after she saw another rock in the distance. She rushed over to it, closely followed by the boy. Well, it wasn't another tomb. It had a more curved shape and cracked, as if it had crumbled away from something larger. But it was the same lifeless shade of grey, like if a paintbrush could work in reverse. The same smooth but slightly grainy texture. And cold. Nearby, they saw another one, then another, then many more. Led by the girl, the friends followed the breadcrumbs of stone until they reached its end. An ancient temple, magnificent in its grandeur, loomed before the young adventurers. Jagged pillars, each with what looked like the weight of a mountain, some still standing, some shattered along the woodland floor, framed the structure like stone boughs. Cracked paving, with moss and weeds growing between the tiles, and arching entries, with a slither of water gently trickling down the steps, lured the two inside. The boy felt an empty cave form inside his chest, as if a gust of wind would flow right through him. In the daylight, there wasn't anything particularly haunting about the temple, just mildly ominous. But still the boy expressed his desire to turn back. The girl was eager to go on, but deep down, she was kind of relieved the boy said it. In the following days, the young pair would meet outside the woods and venture in together and explore its infinite paths. In this wood, you see, new paths appear all the time, as if by invitation, sometimes leading to familiar places, sometimes to new. Although the paths can vanish just as suddenly as they appear, but as long as you show respect to the woods, it will always show you the way out. That's what these two have found anyway. But ever since their discovery, every path the duo took led them back to the temple. Itching with curiosity, the girl tried to read up about the temple in local history books, but still she found nothing. This didn't deter her. In fact, quite the opposite. The idea that she could be the first to write about this mysterious temple excited her, so much so that she decided to investigate alone. She entered the woods, this time without her cautious friend, and it wasn't long before a new path revealed itself to her. So she followed, with an air of impatience in her step, until she found herself at the temple once more. She carefully made her way up the withering stairs, across the splintered tiles, and stood before the shadowed entrance. As the girl was about to take a step inside, her arm was jerked and she was pulled back. At the same time, a slab of stone crashed and scattered where she once stood. The boy had waited outside of the woods for his friend, so when she didn't arrive, and a gust of wind blew through him, he knew where she was. He rushed inside, followed the first new path, and was able to pull her away from the falling slab before it reached her. Where did this come from? This was reckless behavior, not like the boy at all. But he didn't think. He just went after her. He didn't realize what had happened until he let go of the girl's arm. An impulse took over him, and he was glad of it. Together again, and stronger for it, they stepped inside through the entrance, and there they found a secret. While inside, the trees of the wood simply swayed in the wind, as if nothing had happened, as if the pair were never there. A gentle breeze brushed through the leaves like a comb through hair, with a few falling down to the woodland floor, and the birds sang with their little hearts as they always do. A stream of light washed through the grass and ferns like a breathing shoreline, in and out. That's all. It was as if the concept of time had ceased to exist, and there was only now. They left the temple, and the sun graced their cheeks once more. But the girl was not as excited as the boy was. She was looking downward, eyes glazed over, not sparkling like they usually are. She was upset that she had to be saved, especially by the boy. She was meant to be the bold one, the fearless one. She's meant to be saving him, not the other way around. What she doesn't realize is that she does save him. Every day. Perhaps not from something as dramatic or dangerous, but from himself, from his own fears. Instead of them eating him up inside, she's there by his side, encouraging him to face them. So what if you need to be saved every now and again? The boy said. I know, even if you don't, that you can do impossible things on your own. You don't need me here for that. But I am here, so I'm going to help. The girl wished she could be so open and honest with her feelings as he just was. But she couldn't help but let the smile carve its way onto her face. And side by side, they left the woods. They never found the temple again. Every new path they found led to somewhere else, exciting and magical for them to explore. Now I know what you're thinking. But what did they find in the temple? What was the secret? What did they discover? Well, to be honest, I don't know. They swore to the temple and to the woods that they would keep it secret. So I guess we'll never know. But what we do know is one thing they found at the temple is that they're only human. The weakest can find strength where the strongest can't, and vice versa. We all have faults, and that's okay. To learn this at such a young age is a precious gift, and hopefully they can spend their lives not trying to prove themselves, but just knowing that they are enough as they are.